But when it comes to mental health, there are all sorts of myths. I'm going to talk about 3 of them. And these are important because this lays the foundation for where we're going. And my prayer is that this would bring freedom for some of you, because these myths are actually adding to the shame of what you are already dealing with now. So 3 myths. Here's the first one. If you're a Jesus follower, then you shouldn't struggle with mental health. You know, the belief is, there's this belief that once you give your life to follow Jesus, then he fixes immediately everything, and that all your pain and your problems should go away. It's like, here's my story. My story is, I started following Jesus, and my hair instantly started to grow back. Or I started following Jesus, and my credit score, man, it just shot right up. Or I started to follow Jesus, and my boss at work, who is nuts and crazy, he or she's not nuts or crazy anymore. Or I had these marriage problems, I had these relational problems and health problems. I started following Jesus. It's like, it's all good. It's like Jesus just waves this magic wand, and this is what some of us believe, and then like everything all of a sudden is good in our life. The problem is if that's what you believe, then when something is not okay in your life, then you start to believe that something is either wrong with you or it's wrong with Jesus. Yes, there's something wrong. But it's not wrong with you, and it's not wrong with Jesus. What's wrong is you believed something about Jesus and following Jesus that he never promised. In fact, he actually said the exact opposite on many occasions. Let me just look at one. Here's what he said in the book of John. He said, in this world you'll have what? Trouble. Bad things are going to happen. He said, but take heart, I have overcome the world. So Jesus never said, hey, I want you to follow me, and then your life will be perfect and pain-free. He repeatedly said, I want you to follow me. And then when trouble and pain hits your life, don't lose hope, because I'm willing to walk with you through whatever comes your way. You know, this is why I think that there's a stigma attached to mental health and faith or mental health and church. Because if you believe that in your mind, and when you start struggling with mental health, here's what you'll automatically do. You'll think it's your fault. And so it'd be like, okay, I'm struggling with this, and so it must be I must not have enough faith. Or I must not pray enough. Or if I pray enough, I'm not praying the right way. Or there must be a sin in my life, and if I would just get rid of that sin or whatever happened, then everything would be okay, and that would go away. The truth is, you can follow and love Jesus and still battle depression. You can read your Bible every single day, and you can have chronic anxiety. You know, you can not miss church for the entire year of 2023. And even sit in the front row, because when you sit in the front row, it means you're closer to God, you know? And so you can even sit in the front row, and you can even volunteer in the 2-year-old room and still struggle to overcome trauma. Maybe because, you know, you're serving in the 2-year-old room, I don't know. One of the things I love about the Bible is that it is filled with people that we can relate to. In fact, many of the people who we would consider, men and women considered heroes of the faith, many of them struggled with seasons of mental health issues in their life. Let me give you a couple examples. There's an Old Testament prophet named Elijah, a very well-known prophet. There was this time where he challenged 400 false prophets, and what was really great is he challenged them to a firefight. And what he said was, the firefight was, okay, which one of our gods is going to send fire down from heaven first? And what was great, it's one of the best trash-talking lines in the entire Bible. As the false prophets are trying to call down fire, nothing's happening. He goes, maybe your God is relieving himself. I just love, that's one of the great trash-talking lines in all the Bible. And so he does that, nothing happens, and then his God does rain down fire. He humiliates the false prophets. The next day, he says, God, I don't want to live anymore. Would you take my life? King David, he is a warrior. He's a worship leader. He defeats Goliath. He becomes king. Life is good for him. But when you read the Psalms and some of the things that he wrote in the Psalms, you'll see that he struggled with despair, wondering if God had truly abandoned him. There was a prophet, and this prophet was named Jeremiah. And I always want to say Jeremiah was a bullfrog every time I say that, but his name was Jeremiah. But he was actually known as the weeping prophet. And I don't know about you, I don't want to be known as the weeping anything, okay? I'd rather be known as the MMA prophet or the linebacker prophet, But he was known as the weeping prophet. And you see with Jeremiah, he struggled with insecurity. and he cursed the day that he was born. And so if you struggle with mental health related things, sometimes the message in the church, because the church doesn't know what to say, and the message is, well, you just need more of God. And you know what? You do need more of God. I think we all need more of God. But do you know what else you might need? You might need to get more sleep. Was that unspiritual? No. God designed us that way. Hey, you know what you might need? You might need better friends. You're not connected in community with other people. You may need to get into a small group because you need people in your corner that are fighting and praying for you. You know, you might need to develop a new hobby this year because you need a hobby that'll help you disconnect your mind because you have a hard time disconnecting your mind. If you're struggling with mental health, and listen, so many of us are, and you're taking steps with God and you're wondering what's wrong, listen, here's what's wrong. You're a human being that lives in a fallen, broken world, and every single one of us, whether Jesus follower or not, will experience the impact of that. So there's this myth that says, hey, if you follow Jesus, you shouldn't struggle with mental health. Not true.